All right, I think we're all set. Yeah. Boy, oh boy, it's been a arduous one today. How are we all doing? Howdy, Xavier. Good to see you. First thing. Can't believe Metroid Prime 4 and a Night Rain DLC come out on the same day. Well, I guess you have to make your choice now, Xavier. Is it school or is it video games? All right. As a responsible Loki, I will tell you to please choose the school. It's interesting to me where they decide to have the fallen trees here. Because they choose to have it here. But it's not really anywhere else. I think we also have it like at the very beginning of the Ainsel River. Got these guys just kind of grazing. There we are. I guess I should take shots of this just in case I don't already have good ones. You know, it'd probably be smart if I actually faced it because the camera requires dumb crap like that. All right, that's done. Well, show me my ants. Yeah, something like that. There we go. Perfect. Hey, I am good to see you as well. Well, at least you know it's a Loki stream. Well. By the way, the new Coffin Andy and Lily, or Lele, whatever the hell you're supposed to pronounce it, that new teaser, like, whoo, boy, that was a spicy vision. I am glad that Nimble is showing the bonus content, right? Like not the actual story spoiler stuff, but like the bonus like side. Like, hey, do you want the expansion on some things? Like, did I really need to know about that one incident that's mentioned in flavor text during one of the bad endings, and have that elaborated upon? No, I did not. But oh my God, the art was sublime. Too into ants lately, Loki. You know it. You know how much I love those little buggers. Someone might take me seriously. All right, let's see. Hey, I do like the yellow leaves. Kind of falling down up until... Huh. Ah. There we go. There's the dividing line. Up until here. This is the point. This is the dividing line when they stop showing the leaves. New update surely gonna be fantastic. I hope so. It's gonna be the ending of one route, right? Like it's supposed to be like the final chapter, I think. So I would hope so. I'm also curious, like, how many endings there'll be just on this one route. Like, how many, like, are we gonna get another, like, huge side route like we did with the Shots and Such ending? Because, oh boy, like, we got so many different bad ends, and they were, like, some of them felt like they could definitely be, like, on their own, like, just complete versions of the story. For sure. So I could definitely see it. Yeah, okay. Nothing else really. The only thing really interesting to me here is that we have some of the dead trees here, right? But not all of them are even submerged in the water, right? So I do find that a bit interesting, right? Some of these are not really submerged. This one's like borderline, like it may as well be. Yeah, it basically is. I'm willing to say, oh, this is probably very recent, you know, like these have only recently gone on here, because we see very consistently what happens to trees in water, right? And we see this later on as well. Yeah, like these are all submerged. Like this has to be the only time we ever see an exception to submerged trees just die. So I'm willing to just kind of cross this off as, oh, the water's recently gotten this big. Like, this is very recent. But I don't think there's any really trees up ahead. Oh, right. This kills you. Whoops. Whoops. Well, the path to Noxtella. Uh-huh. Yeah, it's really just ruins that can lead you to there. Like, this is really the main Wool Palace stuff. Why would you talk about the red gold runes pulling the coffin up from the Valiant Gargoyle arrows? I talked about the pulling up thing in the Nox. I'm not sure about the red gold thing specifically, because that may or may not require me to... That may or may not tie into the whole idea that, the Erd Tree people had a strong influence on the Nox after Marika obviously established Langdell. I might use that as evidence, because in general, I think that section needs updating, because I'll be honest, if I can, I would like to omit the gargoyle mention and just talk about everything else, like the number of Alta-Citizen runes there, or a rune arc, or a holy grease, or a lot of stuff. And just talk about how there's a huge concentration of that stuff that collectively seems to point in one direction, right? Because some of it you could be like, oh, the visiting fundamentalists or whatever. But I think that, like, outside of the golden centipedes there, I think you can pretty much tie everything else to the general, again, the general backstory we have regarding Langdell, and that's that city. These things are truly everywhere. I can't remember if this is the one with the ant shield or if it's another one, but I need to look at it again, see if it's using Elden Ring specific runes. Yeah, that could also help. Again, either way, like the most important thing to me is the fact that it's purposely dragging itself back up there. Though I'll be honest, I don't know why the hell you would want a coffin set up like that, like a normal ass coffin. Personally, I think that just seems kind of random. The coffins definitely kind of feel like they were loosely put together in order to try to help justify traversal between areas because they needed a scene transition. And they couldn't think of a better one to justify in universe. Because for the life of me, can't really bother to justify it. Yeah, I'm not missing anything about the Nox here, right? We gotta talk about these statues that aren't always hiding their bases like they should. Like they try to. All right. The fact those doors close. Wow. Yeah, you got the trees. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's for the vibe. Yeah, like, it's very obvious the way they handle these statues. They were trying to get the vibe, and they were like, we'll put them here, we'll put them here, we'll try to put, like, textures, and, like, if they got sloppy, they got sloppy. They're like, listen, we can't be showing all the residents looking petrified. Now let's go down here. They had it's like they had this Dark Souls asset for 5 games games ago and want to use it again. I'll be honest, I would not be surprised if it's a reused asset from something and I just don't remember. It reminds me of like a messenger thing, but I don't know if it actually uses a messenger model or something. I can easily see it that it does. There we go. There we go. So like this looks okay, I guess. Golden flies. Yeah, little yellow flies. I can't tell if that was just for contrast or if that's actually significant in some way, you know? I guess it doesn't hurt to get a shot of them. Let's go up here because there's the one divide over here. That might be another good spot to look at them. All right. Nothing here, surprisingly. Yeah, no fireflies here. Sorry, not fireflies, flies. I'm too used to golden fireflies. All right, let's go over here. So I'm working through Bloodborne and stuff like that. I'll be honest, some of the sections on the last stuff is definitely getting longer than I expected. I was like, goodness me, I forgot just how much there was to go through and break down and explain and cover. Yeah, nothing here either with these buddies. All right, we have the flies here. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's hard to tell if they're doing it because they're like, hey, we have like this yellow lighting, so if we were to show these flies, it'd be more realistic if we had them look like they were more yellow because of the lighting here. Like, it could be something as simple as that as the logic, and then they just reused them later without considering, like, you know, surrounding lighting. It's just a good contrast with the blues of the caves. I'm sure you have, Xavier, and I'm sure I remembered once upon a time as well. Yeah, this one's just a dead end. Okay. So you have this one, there's also the one over here, right? Because all this stuff is, correct me if I'm wrong, all this stuff over here is basically, there's no trees or anything. Back there, there's like one broken tree, from what I recall. There we go. Yeah, this is just water. Empty water. Yeah, more of the flies here too. Gotta appreciate it. At least they got the right eyes. Lol. 100% tell that they're not loading the rest of the thing back there. That I think that's where the Dragonkin boy should be, because they're not showing the runes really, right? No, they show them a little bit. Yeah, they show a little bit. They also show this part, which we accidentally raised, so I guess that's cool. They seem to also just show all the switches in general, so that's neat. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure like Dragonkin is like around there. I think Basilisk would taste crunchy. If you cook them, sure. I'm sure their hide tastes very crunchy, but why the hell would you want to eat a Basilisk? Yeah, so it seems like the only, it's only here where we have the body piles and the eggs being laid, but no ants. All the ants are up here. And then you have the riders. So it does look like they've been corralled and moved. As you can see, the attempt to tame them with magic. What's the lore on the meteorite man down there? You mean the withered Estelle or whatever it's called? The malformed star or star grotesque? Is that what we're asking about, or are we asking about the mud people? Because either one, I can easily see someone being like, meteorite man. They do look pretty meteorite-y. And then they got the bubbles. No, the Alabaster Lord. There's an Alabaster Lord down here? I do not remember this. Where is the bastard?
Well, divorce.
I find the inclusion of a prisoner here interesting. Yeah, I find it interesting that they have prisoner in here, because like the prisoner is like a sorcerer class generally. But outside of the idea that Liurnian sorcerers have fled down the Ainsel Well, I suppose it could be connected to what we have back here. Like the idea could be
Something
that the guy responsible for the golem and stuff, that he's a escaped sorcerer convict, and he's been operating out here on the fringes. He appears on the, oh yeah, the Lake of Rye, right. All right, so there's I'm of two minds about this. One is that the idea would be that the ancient dynasty were working closely with meteors, which is something that I vaguely recall being a thing back in the network test. I remember there being a lot of reference to meteors and stuff, and I could see that still being true in the final game, in relation to the ancient dynasty specifically. Two, the idea would be that it's somehow a derivative of Estelle, like everything else, and it's supposed to be like the final piece, because we have obviously destroyed city. We have, I think it's here, yeah, here is where the other malformed star is on the above ground, but there's like the body of water with the thing there, so you imagine it kind of worming its way up. Then you go, so it goes woo down here. We got the Ainsel River. You got the next one here. Either goes this way or this way. Take your pick. Either way ends up here. Then takes a detour. Misses Noxtella. Just goes straight past it. And then you can imagine maybe something here then. But again, I don't know if I want to buy that, because I don't know if Alabaster Lords can be born from Estelle pieces like that. So unless I learn more about like how all these, you know, meteorite buddies are born, I don't want to say for sure. I also been thinking about Estelle's motivation, right? And so so there's two ways I can look at what Estelle does. Either A, Estelle wants to add stars to itself, and therefore when it sees all the glintstone, it just thinks, okay, I'll destroy all this, take the stars, and get out. But I feel like it'd be weird then, because why go to the effort of destroying everything? Just take the stars and leave. So I think the more likely reason is that it freaks out, because it comes out, it sees basically the body parts of all its friends. Because you have to remember, glintstone are basically like fragments of stars. So like The idea being is that essentially to an Estelle, it is essentially looking at like the butchered limbs of its kindred just kind of floating around, hanging in the air, and it just gets summoned to this area. So at least from the Estelle's point of view, it is hostile, a self-defense, right? So like all the hostility and the maliciousness is because it thinks that it's going to get killed. Again, this could also apply in Noclateo, where we kind of see something to the lesser extent, though, right? Where it takes the stars and goes hole up in the church. Ooh. Uh-huh. Yeah, we have the fallen trees and stuff up here too. Yeah, so it's not really anywhere here. We have a bit of it here, then some in Noxtella, and that's about it. I think I'm going to mention all that stuff in astrologers probably when I'm talking about trees and water and all that jazz. So I think that's probably where it's most appropriate to make all those arguments. From the DLC, we know that the Nox were basically opening a hole into the greater will, right? I don't know if it's necessarily into the greater will. I think the general idea is that into outer space and the cosmos, which obviously the greater will is part of, because, well, it's the big great darkness, right, in the far beyond that encompasses the outer space. I don't know enough about the cosmology to say much more than that. So I don't know if there could be something where it's like it was some way. I don't think it was a way to damage the greater will, because the goal seems to be to get back to the night and then wage war on the greater will, not to just open a portal to it. That seems like it's just asking for trouble, right? And obviously that's what they ended up getting. So I think it really was just kind of like an experiment into trying to open a portal to go in, and then something unexpectedly came out, right? Like Estelle was just kind of minding his business, stumbles through a portal, ends up in this other dimension, and is kind of like, holy hell, what the hell is happening? Oh my god, why are all these pieces of my people you know, scattered about here? Oh my god, they're gonna kill me. And then starts going crazy, and then takes the stars, be like, I'll save you, my kindred, and just kind of flies off. Forgive me if it was already covered, but do we ever figure out what being a god meant, especially in terms of the gate, which felt like it bathed a person in the crucible energy or something? Again, I do not know enough about the cosmology of the game to get into that level of detail. I am very much at a very surface level understanding. So when you read any of my analyses on anything, I will, at this stage of the game, just kind of be like, okay, this happens, I accept it. I will just work on that based on the basic logic I can derive from that. Otherwise, I am not able to go that much deeper. In fact, that's one of the things I'm very happy about with the God Hunts thesis I'm working on, is that it feels like I've actually made progress on understanding the larger cosmology, because I feel like I've actually kind of like it's all clicked to me how all the stuff with the Glowmite Queen, with the Gelmir Snake God, and all that stuff, how that all kind of flows together into like this very perfect system that ends up giving us the Godskin Hunters. So I feel like in general, I'm not there yet, but I do feel like slowly but surely I am inching my way through as I just cover the history of the stuff, and some of the rules become apparent on how all this stuff has to be happening. Like just what makes sense at this point. Oh! Damn. But yeah, so to give the short answer on the gate specifically, I have zero idea how the Gate of Divinity works, beyond the idea that, okay, apparently you just put a bunch of bodies together and eventually they form a gate. Sure, whatever. However that works. Again, does it relate to the Crucible? I don't know, maybe. Does it relate to other stuff? I don't know, maybe. That's my problem. I don't know, maybe. Okay, this is what... This is very important to me. It's establishing this white root thing coming out of the black goop here, which means that everything here without the foliage and with the really gray desiccated look, that is 100% due to Godwin. Right? So whenever we're seeing that stuff also come out from the ceiling here, that's also because of Godwin. Right? So everything here is responsible for that. And we even see in parts of it that are still not dead. Right? Like, see this? We still got some like living branches attached to this, so they look more normal. And they have the leaves on them. But everything else, dead as dead can be. That also means these probably are the same, these giant roots here. So that's probably also Godwin affected. I'm not sure about this here. It's not exactly the same. This, though, is especially interesting because this is the main trunk of the Erd tree, or the main root. And it looks mostly fine on this side. Not that you can really get a tell. But it's looking really screwy on this side. Right? This might be the beginning stages. That might be why. Loki stream confirmed. We had Loki stream confirmed as soon as I greeted you. I am. Lol. Okay, yeah. Okay, good to know. So if we ever talk about Godwin and stuff in the future, I'll have to remember to mention these giant root corruption. Oh. Well, we're just getting endless confirmations today, huh? Yuck. Okay, well, clearly I'm too tired to walk branches properly, so. Now, do we see much in the way of fallen trees beyond that? Not really. Oh, we also, you know what? We also have the same thing here as we had in Ainsel, where the trees aren't immediately dead. So I wonder if this is just trying to highlight how all this flooding is incredibly recent. Uh-huh. Yeah, it's all basically alive here. They're beginning to show some dead trees, right? So some of it they're starting to show. I just find it very interesting because the ones they're showing are closer to the front, it looks like. Not the ones you'd think would be immersed in the water longest, you know? This one's fighting me because I'm like, is it just a wall or? It's hard to tell like what they're intending to be buildings that are overgrown and have trees growing inside them. Versus the alternative. It's nice to have a reconfirmation. Maybe for some of you. Yeah, same thing here. Uh-huh. I just gotta check what that is. I'm sure it's like goldsmithing stone or something. Uh-huh. Yeah, pff, what a shocker. Yeah. Not a lot to reconfirm here. Found one. So in Bloodborne, I also find it interesting that there's no corpse here, but we just find the ashes laid against the tree here. Very curious that. Anyway, so Bloodborne, I am having a little bit of the struggles. I will admit, because of how long some of these sections are getting and trying to get the queen stuff to strung together, I am struggling. Part of that, I think, is that I feel like some of the sections are getting too long, and I think one of the reasons is because I'm talking about stuff related to is that I wanted to save for this because I thought there wasn't any way to really fit it. It just is. I'm sorry to second guess myself on that. I'm starting to think, you know, this actually stands on its own pretty darn swell. I think I should go to the trouble. Yeah, I think I should go to the trouble to actually move it into is. Now it's gonna have to require me to think of a new transition to Ebrietas, but I think that's fine. That's mountains, isn't it? Mountains? What are we talking about, Xavier? What mountains? Are you talking about what I was looking at on the map, or? Because our K friend here. Mm-hmm. The smithing stones. Oh. I see what you're trying to say. Yeah, these you meant mountaintops. Yeah, this is supposed to be one of the glass smithing stones that you often find in polar regions. We find, though, a lot of them in Nox position, so they seem to like to trade for it. This one, these polar stones, I assume either comes from Lindell, from the Giant War, or from Ordina. Maybe a mixture of both. And the one from Noxtella, of course, comes from Caria. Ebrietas, my favorite kin in Bloodborne. Well, yeah, like Ebrietas as a section, it's fine. So, like I said, it just needs a line or two to, like, help smooth out the transition. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert a lot of the stuff I want to talk about, which is mainly regarding the Watchdog and the Keepers of the Old Lords. I don't know why they went with Keepers as the translation. They should have called it Watchmen and then called the Watchers the Keepers. I truly don't understand what was going through the localization's head with that. Like, please just keep it consistent. Watchmen, watchdog. If you didn't like the idea of a man, just call it watchwoman of the old lords. Like, who cares? Or hell, just call it the watcher of the old lords, or just the watch if you didn't want to. Like we don't have to be like. We have to go too crazy with this, you know? There are a lot of room bears and caves here, I'm noticing. Yeah, it's very weird to me that all the trees in the outer area are the ones that are dead. You'd think it'd be the ones in the inner one that are first. Not sure if the devs were really paying attention there. I read every time that there are ants in this area. I'm like, no, they're all over there. No, they're not. They're right here on this side of the city, too. Also, Gravelstone Great Bolts down there. Yeah, that'd be related to the Lindell stuff, probably. Though, again, it could also be a fundamentalist that's going after, from Lindell, that's going after our favorite ancient dragon in the area. So, ideally, for Altus Unification War especially, where I don't establish the Ancient Dragon War stuff yet, I would like to make arguments without that, and then save the bolts and stuff for Fortis X. I acknowledge the possibility. Sorry, I'm so tired today, Chad. I'm yawning. I acknowledge the possibility that good old there we go. That good old Fortis X ends up getting targeted by the fundamentalists there. Yeah, see, I look at stuff like this, it's like, okay, not that bad. You look at this, you're like, oh, well, is there something going on here? Because it looks fine here. It's not coming out with the same crap, right? Admittedly, we do see this. I have to double check Nardi's notes when this is done, because is there anything that's like really working on that there? There we go. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the rest of this we pretty much covered. There's like the orange and stuff up there with the flowers that I have shots of, I'm pretty sure, so I think we should be fine there. Like I said, the stuff with the prisoner, I guess. Yeah, let's double check let's double check the scenario here. I don't remember if there are any items. I'm gonna have to check Nardi's dock and stuff, see if there's anything interesting to look at here. So we have the golem, right? The golem belongs to someone or something collected somewhere with the ancient dynasty and or the ancient dynasty, the ancient civ. So I guess from over here. I guess it could also come from all the way over here. Is there any chance where a prisoner could come from over in Stormvale or Limgrave? The only thing I can think of is maybe this penal colonist, but it's like, why is there a sorcerer there randomly? Because you don't really have much evidence of sorcerers being a part of the penal colony. We have our favorite blood roses here. We have our sorcerer ball. I said it before, I believe the sorcerers were collected from the bottom of the well. That's why we have the golem here, right? Take some of the Nox sorcerers and threw them together. So just a matter of, do the items, do any additional items support a connection? Because like, what would be a connected to the prisoner that we could possibly be collecting in this area, right? I know we collect like magic grease or shield grease, but shield grease would be like, that would be perfectly suitable for someone with silver tears that could be connected back to the cities. And I think it's in the city body pile, so I think that one's safe. Yeah, it would have to be somewhere going forward. I have to... I'm sorry, Chad. I'm just so tired. I don't know why. Moving all the way over here. Anywhere else in this guy's vicinity that this prisoner could be connected to, if not here. I don't see any reason for it to be Noxtella. Like, why would you have a random sorcerer prisoner in Noxtella? You have the sluice gate. There's nothing really there. The Lake of Rot doesn't really fit. Right? By the way, I still love that they basically tried to, like... They basically unsealed a divine calamity just for the purposes of trying to flood out Estelle. I love it. It's like the silliest shit. Like, oh my god, this stupid cockroach is here. Kill it, kill it. Like, fuck the consequences. Like, you just spraying Raid all over your pillows or some shit. Or your food. Not caring, just because you want to do it. It's like, guys, it's the rot. Do we not remember this? But granted, this is the same people who are also trying to have us believe that Dragonkin soldiers are flowing down relatively narrow river passages in order to get downriver, so like... I guess we should just accept that the entire underground is a comedy sketch. Yeah, you don't have magical bullshit in your eyes. But you do have freaking random ass trees. Yeah, so I just have to figure out kind of that. I guess I would mention this in the shattering, I suppose. Maybe something to do with Bogart? Or Bogart, however you pronounce it. Mr. Black. Oh, no, actually, it's just a weird spelling of Blackguard, right? I can't remember how you pronounce that. Anyway, point is, maybe. Could be our prisoner boy. The thing is... Because he's down here. Does he move over here by the lake shore? I vaguely recall that being a thing. Am I right about that? Actually, you know what? If I'm having all the Eternal City stuff get mentioned earlier, I could put this stuff in Caria. Yeah, because prisoner, someone who would commit this thing, it'd be a crime to like lock them up. The idea being they're a sorcerer, so they get kind of just imprisoned and put in. And the question would be if the guy somehow escaped. Right? Yeah, I think that could work. Just that he's another prisoner with a metal mask. Yeah, I get that. I get that idea, Xavier. Is that, like, you know, it's his set. It's in the, at least on a horizontal axis, not that far from his location, right? Like, I could definitely see it. The problem is, I think he might appear here, at which point I'm like, okay, well, maybe there's a possibility there. Could be a coincidence, but I think at the very least it's worth positing. And then, yeah, I'm really curious if what the items are here and in Ainsel, just so I can get a more solid idea of what it is. Because the merchant doesn't sell too much besides the prisoner set, the celestial dew, you know, like stuff you'd expect. Never ceases to amaze me that with the power of even weaker cosmic beings, Estelle is like, I'll take that sky. Well, to be fair, it's just floating glintstone, right? Like there's a reason it's called a false sky. It's just shards of there we go. Yeah, it's just shards of rock, right? They very clearly make it designed to be like little three-dimensional blocky objects of varying sizes, right? Boggart actually has a unique mask. Oh, really? His is unique. That I don't remember. Oh, you actually know, now that you mention it, I do. Yeah, because it's got the like the weird mouth thing instead of like, yeah, now that you mention it. I never thought about it. For some reason, Boggart's or Bogart, whatever it is, his helmet always comes to my mind whenever I look at the prisoner stuff. But yeah, it is different. It's technically like that alien little circular thing. But yeah, we got like all these false skies down here. There's like a few things of plant life and stuff over here with our Noxy friends, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so overall, I feel like Bloodborne is going to, well, Tumeru specifically is going to, it's going to take a little bit more work to try to like throw that thing together. I'm going to be out of town at some point, so I might end up having to like put that on hold. I'll definitely have it before Christmas, that's for sure. And then then we'll be working on the other Bloodborne stuff while also like, you know, finishing the redrafting on those Elden Ring things. So I'll have plenty of crap. Bloodsaints will thankfully also be short, so I think I can get that all done. And it's going to be, we're going to be pumping them out like bum, 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 bang. Yeah, just plants and stuff, nothing crazy. Here's where our friendly neighbor, can I even open this? I don't want to risk it in case I want to take a shot later. There you go. As like a ripoff of the school masks? You mean his mask is meant to resemble a sorcerer mask from Ray Lucaria? I do not recall this. Yeah, so these are just like normal trees and stuff for the most part. And you got some of the silver things. Oh god, Eternal City. And I know I got up extra early today, but holy hell, I'm feeling extra tired. Yeah. We got the plants. Mm-hmm. We have the Ancient Dynasty graveyard here. Yeah, now that I have the idea that the Ancient Dynasty comes after the Nox, I'm very interested in like exploring this idea of their origin and stuff. Because if the Nox came first, then the fact that the Ancient Dynasty have the sorcery sigil of the Nox makes sense. It's like, oh, so you learned your sorcery at least from the Nox originally. but you're using it seemingly for like, I don't remember if bubbles require faith, but you know, for faith type of stuff, right? For your like your divine oracles and all that. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. I wonder if it's possible they could have put some of the driftwood stuff here, but not really. And before all these trees were killed by death too or some crap. I doubt it, but you never know. Never know with Miyazaki. Uh-huh. I think I've killed the red wolf here already. Oops. Oh, that was close. All right, so pretty clear here. Yeah, so methinks the idea is probably if Noclateo exists in the present day, as Night Rain would have us believe. Ah! I think it would have to be somewhere back behind this, right? So somewhere back there, right? You can kind of see around this way, but not really. And you can kind of see around this way, not really. So if they want to plop, it or random somewhere like over here. Woo! Well, this I think would be a good spot to have it. The other place I can think to put it would be over on the mountaintops, like on the freezing lake or something. I'll be honest, I'm not sure if we really have anything to really indicate that. Like, the only thing I think is kind of sus is the inclusion of the ice prawn, because I'm like, when did these things get all the way up here? But I guess if we're treating crabs and prawn, all that is like a universal creature, I suppose life finds a way. All right. Yeah, random skulls on here. Random skulls. We got our Erd tree doing its root thingy. Yeah, and the ancient civ golems. Yeah, so unless there's some bigger, wider storyline here, if the prisoner is involved in any way, has to get an ancient civ golem, which, unless the idea is he somehow collected it from the deep here in the water, I don't think that's the case. You have to. Oh, actually. Right. They're the ancient ruin. There's the ancient ruin fragments up here. Correct me if I'm wrong, chat. Are there any ancient ruins stuff on here with the golems? And did the golems themselves ever drop the ancient ruin fragments? Because this is the biggest mystery for me. There we go. Ah! There you guys go. You know, I don't see him. They don't drop them, no. Oh, I think you get up too, don't? Yeah, you do. You're an enemy. Oh yes, I'm not sure what the joke would be here. They just wants a warming stone because of the rain? For Nox, I'd also have to mention these things, probably. It's just so important. Also, I find it funny that these things end up half buried in solid goddamn stone bridges. Like, From Software, what the hell are you doing? I know, trying to blend in your asses so you don't have to worry. What a shocker. Stormhawk feathers with the Stormhawks around. It's like a riff of the school mass. Is that what you meant? Yeah, I read your message about this. You missed it. Yeah, my thought was, are they actually supposed to be resembling them, or is it just like, or are you just kind of saying that? Because I'm a little lost on. I'm a little lost on kind of like in what way that they're really similar. Because I'm like, I get, maybe, I don't know, maybe the eyes? I don't know. It just, it doesn't seem like it's really a riff on the Sorcery Academy stuff. So unless I'm forgetting some lore about that. Curious what the reasoning is. Okay, so no luck here. Obviously, Caelid doesn't have it. Pretty sure Divine Bridge. So yeah, it's just Liurnia Bridge, which has the ruin fragments. That's so weird to me. Jarberg, I think, is very simple. Cuckoos probably came in, killed everybody. Somebody left, decided to stuff everyone into the pots or whatever. The pots obviously came alive and were ultimately like really good people, so the guy kept doing it. And eventually the guy seems to have left and or died himself. Right? Because you also have to worry about the poachers and things. Could be the guy got killed by the poachers. Right? So, if the poachers are involved, obviously, cutting off the path here was to help hide them from poachers. Actually, no, it can't be that poachers are involved, because isn't the entire point of the quest line that the poachers for the first time come there? Like, they haven't really experienced that. They're like the safe zone. I wonder if the was wondering if the Iron Mask is a learning incarceration practice that led to that, though. I guess it depends on whether or not Bogart procured the mask before or after leaving to become a tarnish of the lands between, right? That, I think, would be the question. Because they don't give us any staff or anything to help follow up. So we just have to kind of infer that the fact we're in the sorcerer country, or we were, and everything, that this would probably be related. Mm-hmm. Nox technology, you know? I should just teleport it over closer, but I was like, yeah, well, may as well. Horrible mistake. I do appreciate these guys trying to also avoid the Estelle, you know?
Well, divorce.
Yes, we got the gravity stuff. That's not too shocking. You have the Ash of War. You have this. The Nomadic Warriors Cookbook is for Thaw Frost boluses and stimulating boluses. Is there anything particular about those? Yeah, Thaw Frost is interesting to me. Like, what do you craft those with? Herba, crab eggs, and cave moss. I mean, crab eggs, you don't particularly get them down here in Ainsel. And stimulating. A cave moss, a slumbering egg, and an herba. That's for sleep, right? What makes me wonder if it's a Liurnian practice is we find the prisoner outfit an iron mask in Liurnia and the prisoner starting class with the says sorcerer. Well, as again I'm saying here is that I can definitely believe this prisoner is a Liurnian thing in a generic sense, right? Like they're like using the starting class set as a way to generically portray a prisoner who could be involved in criminality related to the oh, what's it called? The sorcerer balls, the graven schools. And then at the same time, if he's a noble, it would explain like maybe treating him well if it's someone like close or deeply involved and stuff like that. And then the guy kind of gets out and goes off to continue his work in secret. Crayfish also drop crab eggs. Okay, so it's a little more reasonable, but we still don't. Yeah, it would have to come from above ground. Yeah, it would. Acid spray mist obviously comes from a Dupre perfumer. That makes a lot of sense because we get the acid down here. These I have never found a good reason why they're in specific locations beyond just the devs felt like it was about time to give you an option for one of these. So I'm going to just assume that there's nothing significant here. So I think the idea is Nox, random warriors, Depraved perfumer, nomad from the surface. Because like, okay, who does sleep? I guess some of the crabs upstairs because of the silver in the water. Yeah, the crabs in Liurnia do spew sleep. And then Thaw Frost, I suppose, because there is the stuff you can get, especially related to Karya and things. I can't think of a particular enemy, at least, in either Ainsel or Liurnia that does this. So the prisoner, yeah, I have to look at the eyes just to be sure, but I am feeling like, okay, it has to be like a prisoner who came down here, was collecting bodies and stuff for his experiments, had a golem protecting it so no one else would get to the bodies that he's working with and stuff like that, right? He's able to not be discovered or anything with that. Probably high class, like the starting background we have. Someone who is like, okay, he had like probably education stuff and sorcery and everything. He gets imprisoned. He probably doesn't have it that bad because he's just a prisoner. Though, I don't know, in the case of the Tarnished, we have to have died, right? So maybe it was a really miserable time in jail. But the point is that prisoner seems to escape and now is doing his own thing. Yeah, I guess that's what we have to go with. Interesting choice to do it in like the pond in the back, though. I wonder if the idea was just to, because it made it easier to clean the blood and hide what he was doing. And then maybe what he was doing was attracting room bears, which we see. I'm curious where he got the golem, though, right? Like, I guess you could say the same thing about the Shaded Castle, but at the very least, we have, like, golems around Altus at both ends. So you can realistically believe maybe there's some around in the middle sections as well. I mean, actually, he comes back from Ainsel, right? I wonder. Nothing really important there. With Morgoth, most of the stuff is not really environmental again, because most of the environmental stuff I talk about in other topics. So it's like, with him, it's going to be simply talking about, you know, all the intellectual and abstract stuff from the text. Maybe touch a little bit on first defense, a little bit on second defense from his side, and like the general fighting and things like that. Because again, I would include Morgoth stuff as part of Shattering. So I would do something called The Shattering. That would be the thesis. And the entire point is for The Shattering to cover the entirety of the war and stuff. Now, again, the problem is I don't know if I want to include Marika's involvement with breaking the Elden Ring at this point, or if I save that for the Night of the Black Knives. Like, it's really weird because it can fit in both. It's also kind of one of the big events, so I would hate it to be one of those where I'm just like, oh yeah, this happens, and I don't talk about it in detail, but I feel like I might have to. Because, again, I just don't think I'm in the position to be like, okay, what is Marika's big plan? Like, did she just snap, or is there like, is this somehow still contributing to what her big goal was or whatever? Again, I'm currently skeptical, but I'm still open to the idea that it could be possible. The Fringe Folk Rebellion grave is Fringe Folk Rebellion, Fringe Folk Heroes grave. Main castle, Rampart Tower, secluded cell. Oh, there. Yeah, nothing really here. I mean, I don't know when I'm going to talk about the Cellin stuff. If the Cellin stuff has to go in specifically to a Cellin thing, or if at some point I'm going to be able to mention, you know, I guess I could mention. It's not just. Correct me if I'm wrong, chat. So you have the puppets, right? You have the fallen things. You have the sorcerer ball. Dead Cellin. Commoners. Here you got a lot of bodies to work with. I don't remember her crystal on her head being green. Am I crazy? Has it always been that way? Has it really been that long since I've looked at the good old Cellin? Right, and this will be our assassin here. The guy not in prison, but he's also definitely dead. Still don't know what the Embered thing's all about. If it's like, oh no, this was a heroic person, and so the fire in his heart still blazes after death. Uh-huh. It's always been green, like Azure. Oh, really? I don't know if it's exactly Azure's color. It looks a little greener than that, but either way. All right. Warrior/Tarnished life, we've decided. Yeah, that was what I remember being the going hypothesis, but I'm still not entirely certain. I have to compare like every single embered corpse to what we find, if it's consistent with all of it, right? I guess some of them could just be random throwaways where they're like, yeah, sure, maybe it fits within the criteria, but we're not really specifically going for that. We're just trying to, you know, it's the corpse with the right, it's the corpse model with the right pose for what they want to do. That could always be possible. Could be that I can see if that corpse model might have unique poses that no other one can do, so they just would use it like that. Unfortunately, that requires a really in-depth breakdown and like sort of like getting a spreadsheet set up so we can like look at that and compare. See if there's anything consistent there with what I just said. I feel like I might want to mention the Miranda flowers. I don't know, it kind of feels like it might be relevant. Yeah, I'm also thinking of adding to Radon a possible mention that he's allowed stars to slip through because of him battling the rot. Because that's the only way I can justify this stuff here. Because you have like entities like these guys we can see come in and out by their own, so that's not that weird. But like we go up to Lanedell, or sorry, I should just say Altus. Technically we're outside Lanedell. We are outside the capital outskirts, the outskirts of the outskirts, as you were. Right? So these guys, Lanedell's like, okay guys, do the mining, do your job, right? But apparently it's so recent that no entity here has come out. Contrast this. Contrast this to him. We have the full mature falling star beast over here, who doesn't even have to come out of portal. He's just always just kind of there. So it's clear that he came out a long time ago. We can say the same thing about the falling star beast in the Celia Crystal Tunnel, right? Yeah. Yeah, Troll, I'm not sure if there's a specific storyline going on there. Maybe there is, maybe there isn't. Yeah, there's the tunnel, the ruins. Alright, chat. I'm feeling extra tired. And I think I've covered all the stuff that I was interested in looking at today with everything we've got done. Tumaru is coming along slowly but surely. It finally hit a major roadblock on this. But so far it looks like that might be the only one. And really, I think I've already gotten over it. It's just a matter of, you know, stringing together a few more paragraphs and making sure, well, the length I'll worry about in a second draft, see if I have to cut it. And like I said, Keeper of the Old Lords and Watchdog of the Old Lords, I might have to start planning to move that stuff out and cut it from the dock. So just have it as a separate thing that I'll update to is before or after, probably before releasing the new one. Well, the one on the Limgrave Shore also appears from a portal by a campsite. Yeah, we also have, yeah, some of them just these guys over here. We also have these guys that just kind of come out whenever. Like Liurnia has one that just comes out whenever. So if it was just these guys, I'd be fine. But the ones over here for the lords. There we go. Actually, no, this guy doesn't have a portal. He's already walking around. Looking forward to it. Yeah, I think it's going to be a good analysis. Like I said, I think I have to cut the stuff on the Keepers of the Old Lords and the Watchdog of the Old Lords and all that shit, and the Keepers, Hounds and all that stuff, because it's just bloating the analysis. Like this section, there's like a section that's like 6-7 pages. I already think I have to cut stuff on Yharnam's personal story and rewrite things accordingly there, because that's also getting very unwieldy. But yeah, like a lot of stuff with the Queen, it's a lot. It takes up a lot of the space, like a solid third of the thesis. So it's like, oh wow, like you're really big for sure. A solid 1/3. It's kind of crazy. Anyway, I'm gonna be heading up now, guys, because like I said, I think I'm gonna like collapse and break down. So before I like have like a terrible mental fart and start like spilling all my guts or something to you all on stream, gonna end it here. Thanks so much. Love you all. Peace.